But right now, Joseph Daniel wearing a new suit of skin, Vice President of Sales at GEGO Tracking Solutions. Hello, sir. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Good after talking with you all these months and years to finally be on the show.
Finally be on the show. Wait, well, you were on the show before? You were on where we're talking about?
No, I arranged the one of my previous employers.
Yeah. Oh, I've always thought it was you that came. Maybe that was someone else, Joe. I'm not even sure. Now you're somewhere new, man. What's this new gig that you're? What's GEGO or GEGO?
Well,
what is it? GEGO, GEGO.
GEGO. So we're a tracking logistics service. It's actually based out of Argentina, but I am the head of the U.S. office, if you will, and VP of Sales. We're actually providing a lot of visibility and we solve a lot of problems that come up during tracking. I mean, I was in logistics for about 10 years, working in 3PLs, and every countermeasure that we put in place, be it, I shouldn't name names, but all the tracking softwares, you have to rely on the driver to turn on his software. You have to rely on the asset tracker, the GPS on the truck to be working. So we kind of have a better solution. We started off doing luggage tracking. We were the first luggage tracker. So it's a device that you can put in right with the cargo, watch it the entire duration of the trip. You have live GPS updating, and it even integrates with certain flights as well. Like if you know which cargo flight is going from Chicago to Seattle, let's just say, you could put that on there, and when you watch it on our platform, you could actually see the flight as well as the over-the-road part of the trip as well.
Very cool. You know, this is an issue. And I remember last year there was so much talk about like fraud and double brokering. And this year the storyline has been much more focused on actual physical theft because there's been so much and there's been some prominent names involved in some of these thefts that have happened. I've had plenty of guests talking on this is a problem that has jumped by multiple double-digit percentage points year over year since 2020. It's a truck stop had a big report on it. It's an issue that within a year or two should be $1 billion problem. I think it's about a $700 million problem now. You were just talking to the FBI about this. What are they doing about this issue that we face?
Yeah, I went to the Midwest Cargo Theft Summit, and I managed to speak to some FBI agents who turns out are my neighbors. But they already knew that, I guess. But it's a couple years ago, it was they're considering it the good old days, back when it was not quite $700 million. They're saying eventually this is going to be considered the good old days. It's everything left and right that could be taken off. And basically any vehicle there, it's getting more complex. It's to the point where there is actually a supply chain problem getting the products out of the United States and into their final destination. So that's actually benefiting a little bit in some of the recovery, although it's just getting nuts. And they said it's a problem that's not going away. I forgot the complex acronym that the government just implemented to help track down the cargo theft issues and go after some of these rogue agents. But they mentioned one of the best things you could do in addition to is making sure your system, your inventory system in the warehouse is working okay, is using a clandestine tracker in your freight. So the good part about that is you can do that. You don't have to worry about, somebody turning on their cell phone, something not working on the truck. It's a small device about the size of an AC adapter you'd use for your cell phone. And that goes actually in the freight. It has amazing GPS. We did one with, I know you know the Logistics Lounge guys. They were sending each other trackers. And you can actually see the guy walking the package around in the post office. Like a 2,400 square foot post office. You could see him walking around in there.
So like I use AirTags. Is it a lot like an AirTag?
It's significantly more robust. I mean, you have to be connected to an Apple device with AirTags. With these, as long as they're in there, I mean, you have cell phone coverage. It uses GPS. My in-laws currently have one in their luggage right now, and yes, they are aware of it. So when they're at Midway right now, so when they take off, it'll turn off and use the FlightAware data to track it. And when they land, I'll be tracking them go to their house. And they just offered to do that for me for a little visibility for the future. But you're able to see that much better. You can attach, like if you want it, if I were sending you something, I could put one of our trackers in it. You could watch it the entire way. Like you don't need an Apple product. You just need whoever is the
Yeah, no,
owner of
I
the
get that.
GEGO software.
I understand. I understand. I'm not saying you're in competition with like air. I'm just saying it so like human beings who don't know what this is like understand the more common thing, which is an air tag. Well, let me ask you this: have you caught anybody stealing anything? Like, have any of these loads been recovered due to a tracking device?
I've heard anecdotal stories, but when I was at the Midwest Cargo Summit, that was just last month. So I personally haven't myself, but these companies are saying, like, thank God we had that. We knew exactly where to go. We knew once that deviated off its normal course, which they set up an alert for, they were able to recover it pretty quick.
Now, or is anyone using like this type of stuff to plug into docks or to warehouses to coordinate entry times for drivers, or not really? Is this just completely more of a cargo security play?
It's almost like we rehearsed this. Actually, yeah, you could. What one of the things I did encounter quite a bit is if the driver should call when he's like an hour or two out, so we can make sure there's a staff loaded, the crane's ready, everything like that. You could just set up an auto geofence with this one. Not have to worry about somebody just having a senior moment or whatever, forgetting to call in with the right people. They get an automatic email, and they're like, oh, the guy's 45 minutes out. Everyone to the dock. Let's get this off the truck immediately.
Interesting. And you're tracking some interesting stuff with this, right? You got everything from like organs to Red Bull race cars. Who's using this kind of tech?
Red Bull Racing, glad you mentioned them. So they know exactly where all their parts are. And, that is extremely high value, high visibility. And then the organ transportation that we're doing is with UNOS. So they're tracking, from hospital to hospital, from where the donor is to the recipient. And we have up to, like, I think our max geofence, our smallest one is like close to 200 feet. So you know exactly when whoever the courier is for that one has arrived. So you can have people prep for surgery. And I know a lot of us treat cargo like it's life or death, but this literally is life or death. So it's a very good platform, especially when you need that level of visibility. And I really can't think of anything higher than human life right there for value.
No, it definitely makes sense. So what who's buying this right now? Who's your ideal customer? Who would you want to contact you after this? Who needs this tech?
Basically anyone who's worried, like if you made a custom fabricated machine that's used in manufacturing, that's one example, and that needs to go from point A to point B, and you need to make sure that there's people ready to unload it at the dock. You need to track it the entire way. Live updates. You don't need to call the broker who calls the carrier, who calls the driver, and play a game of telephone. You could just streamline that. Anyone with high value freight that needs excellent visibility. We're currently helping somebody do a prosthetic arm across the United States right now. So when I'm able to get pictures and whatnot of that will definitely be on my social media. I'm glad to be helping out people with situations like that. And ultimately, we're going to help eliminate a lot of the pain points in tracking. Because if you set up accurate, reliable automations, all those steps I just mentioned of playing a game of telephone, you're going to save that time. You could be spending more time trying to get more freight if you're a customer rep. You could be working on other things if you're a carrier rep. You just streamline a lot of the process and, maybe work on the payment part of it. If you're worried about a high theft thing, like if it's hazelnuts, I remember is one of my more secure loads I had to do at a previous brokerage, put these in there. Be sure you know where it is at all times. If the worst happens, you're prepared. You've anticipated that step. So you're able to recover your load that much faster. And before it gets broken apart.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on.
Yep.
Are hazelnuts like a huge target? Like you just said hazelnuts.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you need to have a secure lot with your own security guard. This is about 9 years ago when I was doing that one.
Why? Like why? Or hazelnut? Like, what's the deal with like the black market?
I guess it's high value. The weight per what you could sell it for. I guess like some of those organic products are insane. Like 10 pounds of something is worth a lot more than 10 pounds of aluminum.
I guess so. Yeah. You can't like turn into like meth or something though, right? Like, no, it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, and like we're helping out some companies setting up like who are moving their servers from point A to point B. Like if they want to go to a state where the overhead's a little bit less expensive, well, nothing I could think of for a company could cripple you faster in getting your information stolen. So that's something else that we're helping out a couple of people with, being like, hey, you know where it is at all time. This is giving you like live updates every 2 minutes.
Wow, very cool. How do people check this out? Where do I send them to?
Send them to GEGO.io, GEGO. or please email jdaniel@gego.io. I think I had my information up there, but I'd be more than happy to set up a demo with you guys and show you guys. I have some trips saved from the previous couple weeks. I'll gladly show them to you. The trips are one thing, but you can also get very robust data when you download. I mean, it told my wife, it's like, hey, do you know this tracker is like a mile from Midway? And immediately she called me and was like, hey, did you stop at Midway for some reason? I'm like, no, that's just where the tracker's telling you I'm at, babe. We're pretty close to it. So,
hey, we're running out of time. I forgot to ask my last guest the poll question, so I got to ask you, who is worse, people who stand in the aisle when the flight lands or people who complain about people who stand in the aisle when the flight lands?
Option 2, I'm only 5'9". I stand up to get, movement back in my joints immediately.
Yeah. You got to let your ass wake up. You got to let the haters that don't want it. I told you that's that middle seat energy. You don't want to be no middle seat hater, right? Get rid of them. All right. Yeah, thank you so much, man.
My question for you.
Go track Joe on social media because it's time for him to go. See you later, buddy.
All right. Take care, man. Thank you.
Take it easy.